stock market can feel like an amusement park roller coaster, soaring one moment and dipping the next. But when your life savings are tied up in investments, the feeling can be less amusing and a little bit more queasy. Way Financial is here with tips to keep your future steady no matter what's happening on Wall Street. Let's welcome Joseph Laswell, investment advisor and the CEO of Way Financial. Joseph, things are kind of unpredictable and, like we're saying, kind of a little bit of a roller coaster right now.
Yeah. Hey, Desiree, thank you for having me on the show again. I'd like to start by saying, political events can create uncertainty, and it's that uncertainty that is driving today's market volatility. But for you investors, the most important thing is to make sure that you have a plan in place or a strategy. Yes, you want to be informed and know what's going on, but that plan is what's going to drive your long-term returns.
Okay, that's good to know. So, to that point, why is the market so unpredictable and what's behind these big swings that are happening right now, Joseph?
Well, political decisions matter and markets react to uncertainty, and especially around government spending and budgets, interest rates and Federal Reserve policy, global trade, tariffs, and investor sentiment can shift quickly. And headline news does push short-term market trends, but what's most important is focusing on quality investment fundamentals. That's going to drive your long-term returns.
Okay, and when we're seeing all this uncertainty, it's easy to react emotionally when the market is all over the place. So what are the biggest mistakes investors should avoid?
Well, you've probably heard this before, but don't panic sell. Overreacting emotionally can often lead to your long-term losses. Try to avoid chasing headlines. Short-term market swings often don't reflect long-term market cycles. And then try to resist timing the market. Many investors try to predict the highs and the lows of the market, but that very investor often will often miss key market recoveries that can happen swiftly.
Okay, so with so much uncertainty, I know that's been the theme, what are some smart moves people can make to protect their investments?
Well, that's good. It goes back to good fundamentals and making sure that your investments are diversified over lots of different types of asset classes, stocks, bonds, real estate, other alternative assets. And then focusing on quality investments, companies that are a lot of times consumer driven or fundamentally strong, profitable. These types of companies often will weather market volatility better. And then cash or paying down debt. I like to say sometimes not paying interest can be just as good as earning interest. And then for your cash, there are a lot of money market accounts out there that are liquid, that are still paying over 4% interest without taking market risk. That's an easy yes for me.
Okay.
And this same cash position will also give you flexibility. And if there's maybe a discounted investment opportunity that's presented to you, you'll be able to take advantage of that. But I think after considering those things, most importantly is sticking to a long-term investment plan. These types of short-term market swings are temporary, but a personalized investment plan built on quality fundamentals, that's what's going to last.
Okay, and what would you say your best advice for navigating this market right now?
Well, volatility is normal, and sticking to a long-term investment plan and high quality investment fundamentals, that's really the key. Staying calm and collected. These are the things that depend on the type of plan that you have in place.
All right, all helpful tips. And how can working with an advisor, specifically at Way Financial, help during these times?
Well, if you need help or you're uncertain on how to handle today's market economy, I invite you to have a conversation with me. We'd like to talk with you and build a personalized investment plan. And if you have that type of plan in place, this will help you stay confident regardless of what the headlines say.
All right, it's important to know. Joseph with Way Financial, thank you. Always appreciate your advice. I'm remembering diversify your investments.
There you go.
All right, for all of our tips from Way Financial, you can scan the QR code that you see right there on the screen. And you can find out more by heading to wayfinancial.com, or you can call 209-542-4929.